Welcome to the Green Wisdom Health Podcast with Dr. Stephen and Janet Lewis, where you will learn about natural solutions to common ailments. And now, here are your hosts, Dr. Stephen and Janet Lewis.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Green Wisdom Health Show. I'm Janet Lewis.
And I'm Dr. Lewis.
And today we are going to give you energy and help you remember it. The name of this show is called Brain Fog, Low Energy Motivation. So if you need it or have it, we're gonna help you find it. Anyway, so welcome to this week's show. We've had a lot of people telling us they are experiencing brain fog for various reasons, having trouble remembering, having trouble staying motivated, very low energy. And Dr. Lewis thought it might be a good idea to do a show about things or items that you could take, some things that might be causing it, what brain fog actually is, if you're wondering if you have it. So, Dr. Lewis, welcome, and tell us what's going on.
You know, one of the first things Janet asked when we were ready to come in and do this, do you have your notes? I said, yeah. She said, I've not seen your notes. I said, I can shoot from the hip. I'm fine. My wife has such great faith in me, thank God. And that's why I can't stay on the same rabbit trail. You know, what's one got to do with the other, got to do with the other. They all go together. You know, I always tried the musculoskeletal route, and I found out, well, people's blood pressure got better. Oh, my God, their brain fog went away. Oh, my God, they got energy. Well, that's not just muscles and bones and nerves, folks. That's everything in your body. So what do you want to talk about? Oh, let me go down a rabbit trail that she didn't even know.
I generally don't know, so.
I was one of her best choices, however.
You just go down whatever trail you're going.
Well, you know, some people talk about, well, my doctor put me on calcium. It's like, no, you don't want calcium all by itself. And, you know, excess calcium, I'm getting to that you need the right proportion of magnesium and vitamin K. You know, one of and there's plenty of studies that support this that says, well, if you don't have enough vitamin K, you can't shunt the calcium back where it's supposed to do. So one of the issues with too much calcium is aging, gallstones, colon cancer, Crohn's, which that's a lot of other things too, coronary artery disease. I really appreciate the fact that some of my patients have listened to me and gone to their cardiologist and got a coronary calcium scan. Kidney stones, dental plaque, ovarian cysts, hypothyroidism, cataracts, glaucoma, obesity and diabetes. Well, don't just take calcium. Please ask somebody that's an expert, and I don't mean Dr. Google either. And you need to find out what goes with calcium. And, well, it's magnesium, but it's phosphorus. And did you know that bone health has to do with, bone is like 50% protein? Yeah. So you got to get enough K1. And if you can deplaque some of these little bitty arteries in the heart, brain, whatever, then you get better blood flow and better nutrition, plus the ability to drag out the toxins, which gives you what? More energy and better cognitive function. See, I have to pause to say, what was I going to say? Cognitive function, thinking of the brain. Janet gave me the look like she knew I was faking that one.
Oh, so the question is, are you seeing more patients? Is that the reason why you decided to do a show about this that are saying they have brain fog? I know people walking into the office here have talked about how they're just having trouble concentrating, staying focused.
Or getting their butt up off the couch because they lack motivation. Well, you've heard me talk for years about the toxicity in our environment. You know, we really made it bad back in the 70s when they started spraying glyphosate. No, I don't want you to, the makers of Roundup to sue me over that. But there's plenty of real research that proves I'm right. And, how do you get past that? Well, you pay off the senators and congressmen, I guess. I don't know. I hate politics. And the last 2 years, I've hated it even worse. But, yeah, we're seeing more people that are saying, I just don't have the get up and go. Even one of my sweet, darling sisters says, well, I just don't have the mental capacity at this point to make a good decision. And I said, well, you're a better Christian than me. Throw it in, ask God to bless it. But you got to throw it in. Faith without works is dead. That means I don't care how much you pray. If you're not doing the works It's dead. So it takes action, and the best thing to do is take massive action in the right direction. But if you're not going to take massive action, get with somebody that can help you make intelligent decisions and make intelligent action about throwing the right things in. So, you can't get enough of the nutrients out of your food. It does not happen. One of the things I love, and Janet can tell you, the day I don't take that one pill, and it's got a lot of things in it she'll get into later, but it has something in it called riboflavin. You don't hear much about that, but riboflavin is one of the B vitamins, B2. It has to do with antibody production.
What product is that you're speaking about?
The B12 methyl supreme.
Oh, okay. All right.
You can talk about the big things. I'm talking about the little things now. But the riboflavin, you cannot get enough out of your food, even if you're eating organic. But antibody production, I promise you, we're seeing more and more and more, holy cow, autoimmune-looking diseases. And since, that includes arthritis, it has to do with cell respiration. What did I tell you a while ago? Well, you need the blood flow in to get the nutrients in, but to bring the toxins back out. It helps eye fatigue. When people say, oh, my eyes are so fatigued, and I read this list, and I know that's thyroid. I said, well, it can be thyroid, but never diagnose yourself off of a list. And I tell you that when we give you a list. It has a lot to do with prevention of cataracts. It helps facilitate the use of oxygen in the tissues, and for you women, skin, nails, and hair, and eliminates dandruff on a lot of people, helps the absorption of iron, and B6. B6 is the one that, and I try to always say this simply, but B6 is the one that helps your neurotransmitters. That's the happy hormones, or the get up and go, the pep in your step. It helps the happy hormones cross from your gut to your brain. So the blood-brain barrier is the B6, but you got to have B2 to make it work. That's why you can't just pick out one thing. And people say, well, what one supplement can you take? Well, what 1 gallon of gas will get you from here to Montana? Folks, you got to dive in. You can't dip your toe in the pool. You got to dive in. And I had a lady the other day who's got super, super, super low iron. I called her and said, you need to go to the hospital right now. And I'm going to call her as soon as I get out here, see how she's doing. But I said, how's your husband doing this? She says, oh, my God, he's not lazy anymore. All these years, I thought he was lazy. He wasn't lazy. He didn't have the energy to produce. We talk about the mitochondria. Those are the little powerhouses that there's many, many, many of them in every cell in your body. Now, back to B2, it can be the, sores on the tongue, skin lesions, skin problems, dizziness, hair loss. So maybe blondes aren't dizzy. Maybe they just need riboflavin. I don't know. Bad joke. But it goes with poor digestion and slowed mental response. For those that have lost the pep in your step, the get up and go, you've lost that love and I'm sorry, I didn't mean that. If you've lost the want to get up and go, I know when Janet gives me the look, but that was a good look.
I was trying to do the music that went with that. Baby, baby, get down on my knees for you. Keep on going.
Where do you want me to go? Well, there's a lot of things you have to consider, and that's why I tell you there's more and more functional medicine doctors, whether it's usually naturopath or chiropractor. There's a few MDs and DOs that do it. Find somebody you like and find somebody you trust. You've got all sorts of things to understand the neuroendocrine immune system. And yeah, I can always tie that to musculoskeletal system too. So it's always inflammation. And there was one research article I read from New England Journal of Medicine that in neurology reviews that talked about degenerative diseases such as Parkinson's, Lou Gehrig's, Alzheimer's, multiple sclerosis, or inflammatory diseases. Folks, I read a lot of books, and not all books are good just because they're written. Don't think they're always good. And I take a lot of seminars. So about 2 weeks ago, I was taking a seminar from a lady that, holy cow, she was teaching me a whole lot. And I've taken a lot of seminars where I was bored to tears because I knew pretty much everything they talked about. This woman was good, and she talks about treating people that have MS, myasthenia gravis, which I've got one guy that comes in here.
He's been on our podcast.
Yeah, Jimmy.
Yep.
And he's done real well. And I don't even treat that, but we throw stuff in, ask God to bless it, and it's amazing how much better people do. So inflammation is a multi-splendored thing. They could make a song about that too.
So some of the symptoms of brain fog, in case you don't know what they are.
I forgot. I got brain fog.
Low energy or fatigue, including chronic fatigue syndrome, irritability, trouble concentrating, headaches, forgetfulness, and trouble remembering information.
You've lost that loving feeling.
Low motivation, feeling hopeless or mildly depressed. Anxiety is actually a sign of brain fog. Do you know that?
Is low libido there?
It is not.
Well, dadgummit.
You need to read something different. Confusion.
Yeah, I was confused.
Trouble sleeping through the night or insomnia.
Yeah, well, that's me and a whole lot of other people out there, and there's certain things that you can do to improve that, and it's kind of a hit and miss thing. That's not something that always shows on labs. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't.
And difficulty getting motivated to exercise. So
I've had that all my life.
that's why we got a dog. So she makes us she makes us go outside and walk.
But chasing coons in the middle of the night when she's barking at them.
Yeah, but brain fog is actually associated with people that have a gluten intolerance symptoms.
Yeah, that's more people than you think. If you're overweight, you've got gut inflammation, and about a 90% chance of it being a gluten issue.
Autism spectrum disorders, they have more brain fog.
And we've seen those get much, much better. Their handwriting improves, their cognitive function improves, and because we increase detoxification and the ability of the body to get the nutrients to the cell to increase the energy coming out of the mitochondria.
And other food allergies besides just gluten, too, can give you brain fog.
Bluebell ate last night?
Fibromyalgia symptoms. Can cause it.
And many times that's, a yeast overgrowth, and it's not that simple. Sometimes it's lack of magnesium, but it's not that simple. It's a whole lot of things that go together. And when I'm doing a consultation, if your eosinophils have gone high, I say, well, you probably, and I'm not diagnosing, but you probably have too much yeast, fungus, and virus, and the yeast put out the thiaminase enzyme that steals your thiamine. You don't get enough of thiamine's B1, although we were talking about riboflavin B2. And if you don't get enough B1, you get brain fog, and I cannot tell you how many people have called me within 3 days to 3 weeks or emailed me and said, holy cow, I can think clearly. I said, well, bring me dark chocolate to say thank you.
Because you gave them B1?
Yeah, and that's called benfotiamine, and it's not going to hurt you if you take a couple a day. And it's a fat-soluble B1, so it absorbs very, very efficiently if you take it with a little bit of fat, which is fish oil, which you need to be taking no matter what you're doing, but especially if you have some of these symptoms of stress, fatigue, can't get up and go.
Some of the brain fog causes are lack of sleep. Our sleep number bed always tells us how to feel the next day. Because we think we're okay, then we read the number and go,
Well, let's see how we should feel. Let's see what the sleep number bed said.
It was bad. But then some days you think you did really good, and then it said it was bad, so then you have to feel bad again.
That's why I threw away the Fitbit. It lied to me all the time.
Poor diet, specifically too much sugar, alcohol, caffeine, and refined carbs.
Don't y'all hate it when she goes from preaching to getting personal?
I'm just spitting out the facts here. Cause a little bit of brain fog.
And those things also lower your B vitamins. Then that's why I was talking about B1, B2, and folate and B12. That's in the B12 methyl supreme, which is a holy cow kick butt one a day thing that Janet can tell by 3 o'clock that I did or did not take it.
Well, here's one for Dr. Lewis. We'll see if we can stump him.
Yeah, that's easy.
A brain fog cause. Why would this happen? Okay. Having a hormonal imbalance, specifically in regard to dopamine, serotonin, and cortisol. Tell us why that would cause brain fog.
Well, you see, she's already forgotten what I just told you about the neurotransmitters that B6 can transport from your gut to the brain. So that's hypomethylation. Less methylation is in regard to the B vitamins. And hormonal imbalance, well, stress. And now stress can be all kinds of things. It can be mental stress, the toxic stress. It can be the out of balance endocrine system stress, and that's caused by the environmental estrogen mimickers. I'll tell you another stress. I talked to a sweetheart of a lady this morning. She says, well, I said, why's your last name changed? She said, well, my husband finally used his pistol. I said, did he hit you? She said, no, he's just shooting. And I got out and I said, okay, yeah, that's stressful. But she looked pretty good on lab, and she's taking a lot of stuff. She said, I'm here. I want to live my best life, and I want to be alive until the moment that I die. And I said, oh, honey, I love you the way you are, because she wants to live. And she has a reason to. Folks, we have to dig deep sometimes to find out, why do you want to be healthy? If you don't want to be healthy for yourself, because there's a lack of self-love in a lot of people, be healthy for your spouse, your kids, your grandkids, the people that are around you. Lift them up. So, yeah, endocrine imbalance is super, super, super. It's all over the place. That's why there's low testosterone clinics, and that's why most women have too much estrogen, which is out of the environment, not enough progesterone, and not enough DHEA to rebuild the body.
Well, there's two things that are not on this list that I will have to say causes brain fog. One of them is having high liver enzymes.
Oh.
Because we've seen it on lab. They can't think, and it's because their liver is so incredibly toxic that they can't filter out the toxins.
And Janet says I get too technical, so this is going to be really, really technical. Liver's like a woman. If mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. If that liver ain't happy. And I've seen people introduce toxins into their system willingly without thinking about it, and their liver enzymes go to 400, and you wonder what in the hell happened. Folks,
or they've been around something that's been sprayed. They'll be in some sort of a chemical or whatever, or they do that for a living.
I tell the story about us getting crop dusted in Mississippi and Louisiana on 2 different trips in both states. So I guess we're going to have to hang out up in Tennessee and Arkansas coming home. I don't know.
But that'll make you have brain fog.
It really did. Both those times we did our lab, and it's like, holy cow, it messed up our liver because our liver's trying to detox. And it messed up our thyroids in a big way. So, yeah, the hormonal imbalance. Who doesn't have an endocrine imbalance? Because guess what? You're eating meat that's full of hormones and antibiotics, and the antibiotics kill off your good probiotics, and that's why I tell people, you got to take probiotics every day. It's got to be really, really good ones, and more is better. And I take them mostly at night. But it's really better if you take them 2 or 3 times during the day. I mean, at different times, they actually do a lot more good. So more is better in most cases. And there's some, even the supplements, even though they're super duper natural and pure and in the right form, sometimes you really don't want to overdo it. I'm a man, I think more is better, but that's really not true. So get professional advice from your chiropractor, your naturopath, your MD or DO that practices functional medicine.
And I'd also say having a very low immune system will give you brain fog also.
Big time, big time, big time. You know, I said earlier that we're seeing more people that's having autoimmune type diseases, and I always send them to a rheumatologist or a GI specialist. But one of the best things you can do is take some of our stuff like the SBI, which is a bovine-derived immunoglobulin, the immunoglobulin G, and
I like the one.
It works so good.
Yeah, people that have really bad gut problems. Like we have a lady that has had part of her colon removed. She takes the powder because it's real strong. It's like an intensive formula. We always tell people it's kind of like putting silly putty back in the holes of the gut.
Yeah, it seals leaky gut.
Right. And then we have another one called SBI Spore. So it's the spore probiotics that I don't know, Dr. Lewis have to tell you what makes them different than a regular one.
They only come to life when it's a good place to party in your intestines.
Okay, so they open up in a certain place, I guess.
Is that too technical?
No, that's good. I'm trying to go through that, and then it has the SBI to it as well, which as long as I take that, I actually can get away with eating a little bit wrong before it bothers me, where it used to be immediate. So it's working. So it's helping heal leaky gut, which also gives you more energy, which also makes your mind clearer. So
yeah, because the head and the gut are connected, and I am not implying you have your head up your rectum. I'm not saying that at all. but they are intricately connected, your brain and your gut.
Okay, then I think you mentioned a little bit.
Sorry, honey.
I wanted you to tell us about berberine alpha A. I know Dr. Lewis chose, he loves this product. He puts people on it for different reasons.
It helps me with my sugar cravings.
Okay, that's
which means I don't eat as much stuff to feed the yeast, which means it doesn't steal my thiamine or riboflavin.
What does it do for brain fog?
Well, it really, one of the major reasons people take it is for cardiovascular health, but that also increases the energy. Berberine is a really, really, really good thing. It helps with the healthy LDL cholesterol and triglyceride levels compared to the control group. Has to do with lowering blood sugar, and most of us have high blood sugar. They say, well, I don't eat any sugar, but you drink Diet Dr. Peppers all day long, or you do the carbohydrates. Well, it turns to sugar. I don't know. It's been used for at least 2,500 years in Ayurvedic medicine and traditional Chinese medicine. It's in the roots of certain plants like golden seal and golden thread and Oregon grape, things like that. It's kind of a synergistic 1 + 1 = 3 kind of thing, but it helps support healthy heart function, heart rhythm, healthy cholesterol levels, and I just love it, because it translates into energy for me. Then the alpha lipoic acid, oh my God, that is one of the strongest antioxidant in the world. And, we talk about, well, you've got excess oxidation because you have too much iron or your ferritin load is too much. Well, it has to do, the alpha lipoic acid also helps support blood sugar balance to kind of maintain a more healthy level, which, believe it or not, helps regulate the energy of the cell. And people, I tell you, don't just take one bottle of something. Do it for 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, because it takes your body's physiology time to heal. But it scavenges free radicals, and that's why, Janet was talking about the toxic environment. Well, you get free radicals, and if you don't get those things out, then your body's overly burdened trying to, and that's why she mentioned the liver. Antioxidants, we know about vitamin C, vitamin E, glutathione, which we take them all. But the alpha lipoic acid is pretty, it's kind of a king pin. I don't know. It's
king cleaner.
It's a big dog. How about that?
Well, I was, mentioning the immune system, and then you mentioned liver again. One of my favorite ones to help detoxify that is what it's a fairly new product to us. It's called Enviro Detox. And the reason for that is because it has the purified zeolite in it. It's got charcoal, activated charcoal,
which helps cling to those bad things that I just talked about, those metabolites you need to get out.
It's got humic and fulvic acids in it, which helps, actually, like he said, it's a binder, and these toxins stick to it, and then they're able to be pulled out through the colon, and you can dump some of that so that you can feel better. And
There's some toxic people on Facebook that says, "Hey, you don't need to detox." That's a fallacy. And it's like, well, if you look at their face, it's like you need to detox 100 pounds of that stuff, Bubba.
Like sometimes I'll do this after, which I think shrimp must be one of my not so happy fishes that I eat. For me, I guess the toxins from the bottom feeding fish is not good. I can take this and it'll pull it right back off, because shellfish will make me feel brain fog. So Enviro Detox is another good one. And then you talked about the methyl CPG, right? I think some.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely incredible.
Okay, so I have another question for you.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm trying to stump you today.
Sure.
So, for those of you that don't know what we do out here, we do low-cost lab work so that you don't guess at what you need. We do it across the United States. Are you able, Dr. Lewis, to see brain fog issues on a lab?
Directly, no. Indirectly, yes. You can take a really, really good make an educated decision. If your eosinophils are too high, your basophils are too high, If your chloride is too low, we know you're not digesting. If your protein's too low, we know you're not digesting. If your CO2 is too high or too low. And that has to do with mineral balance or lack of such. And your alkaline phosphatase, if it's too low, then you don't have enough zinc, which has to do and with a lot of things. Zinc is super important in many enzyme systems, but it's incredibly important in your immune system, and your immune system is about 60 to 80% in your GI tract. So see, when I say we're talking about brain fog, yeah. I saw a girl the other day, her neutrophils and lymphocytes were totally inverted, and they were not in the right ratio, and it's like, holy cow, you've had this forever. And there's estimates from different good entities. I try to read the real research, not internet opinion, but there are entities that say we're about 95% of us have Epstein-Barr virus in us. Well, okay, having a virus in us is not that big a deal until your immune system gets weakened by too much stress, physical, mental, somebody shooting the lights out. Spiritual stress can do it. You can make your own mental stress up, but the toxic stress, the lack of nutrition stress, and then when your immune system goes downhill, these bad bacteria, yeast, fungus, and virus begin to proliferate. And it's not just taking good probiotics. That is a good place to start, but you've got to take your B vitamins, you've got to take your minerals, you've got to take the bovine-derived immunoglobulins, and you've got to learn to laugh and have joy. You've got to have, I tell people, throw it in and pray and ask God to bless it. And I'm being serious when I say that, but you're doing the action steps. So prayer without works is dead. You're doing the works if you're throwing in the nutrients after looking at the lab. And I tell people, you and I together will make an intelligent, educated decision. After that, you don't worry about it. Just throw it in and trust, because there's a lot of freedom when you learn to trust.
Can you see low energy on lab?
Again, kind of the same things. High CO2, low CO2.
Blood sugar being high?
Oh, God, that hurts, honey.
Oh, I'm just asking. Asking for a friend.
Yeah, your hemoglobin A1C, and we test insulin. And there's people out there that say, I just can't lose weight, and I'm eating good. It's like, yeah, but your insulin's too high. Well, the range goes way up into the 19.6 or 20-something. Well, if it goes beyond 7 or 8 on your insulin, then you're insulin resistant. And they say you can't, they being some of them, and I read a lot, and I've got good retention, but they say it's because your insulin's too high, and that creates too much inflammation. Goes back to that ugly word, inflammation. It's reared its ugly head again. And, oh my God, it turns your cholesterol into big boo-boos and wrong ratios and makes your triglycerides go ballistic, and then it sticks it in the liver. And then you get non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. And, what we say about liver? If liver ain't working, mama ain't happy. It ain't going to be a happy household until you get your liver working. And if your liver's not working good, you're not going to sleep worth a flip from 1 to 3 a.m. That's Chinese traditional medicine, and they're right. They've been doing it 5,000 years longer than I have. And you know what? Them rascals know what they're doing, and we love studying Chinese medicine, although we don't want to go back to China right now like we did 20 years ago. But still, yeah, you can see a lot of this. And this morning, I told this lady, I said, you're feeling this, and this, and she had tears roll down her eyes. She said, how do you know? I said, it's on your lab. So, yeah.
Cortisol might be an issue also.
And if you don't have good cognitive function, you might have forgotten cortisol.
There you go. and a big one, a big one, ferritin, which people go, what's ferritin got to do with anything? I've never really heard of ferritin.
What's love got to do with it?
Yeah, well, they know about iron.
Yeah.
Ferritin, we've had people have really, really low ferritin on their blood work, which means they don't hardly have any iron stored, which will make them have brain fog, low energy. Or they could actually have it really, really high, and they have the same problem.
Then it oxidizes and puts massive amount of stress on your brain, your heart, and your liver.
So I guess the whole point of this is, yes, you can take some products and help feel better, but if that isn't enough, it sounds to me like lab might be the answer, so it would take the guesswork out, because it sounds like you're looking at a lot of things on there, right?
I did lab on my dear sweet mother until she passed away. I don't know, she's 94, 96, something, or 95 or 96, I think. And yes, if I loved my mother enough to do it, don't you think it's good enough for you?
Well, you'd be surprised what came back on there besides just thyroid. And thyroid can make you feel that way.
Yeah.
Very much can. But there are so many other factors. And to hear you put all that together of how the whole body is working together, which I think is more the issue. It's like it's all working together. And if you don't know what it's doing, then how do you know which things would work best for you? Whether you need to build, whether you need to cleanse. Everybody thinks they need a cleanse. But that,
if you're taking our supplements, you're detoxing every day.
right, but a lot of people need to build. That's why they have brain fog, because they have nothing to work with. So I guess the whole moral of the story is, do lab if you haven't in a while. If it's been over 6 months, a year, it's probably time to do it again. If you've never done it, do it, because that'd be a really good time to figure out what's going on. And Dr. Lewis, I cannot believe it. You have been so extremely educational as always.
I wonder what she's going to say after so. I've been so what? Okay.
Could you leave us with some words of wisdom to get us through this next couple of weeks?
Yeah, we live in some pretty dark times, and it's really, really good to have the nutritional wherewithal to feel good mentally as well as physically. And, me being I'm a Texas boy. Sometimes we say it's close enough for government work. No, you got to get pretty dadgum close with this. You got to make an educated decision. And then I say, can't dance, never could sing, and it's too wet to plow. So if you understand that, you too can be a country boy. There's one thing I'd like to tell you about people that are stressed, and there's a lot of that going on, and that's why Janet and I work harder to be healthy so that we can be uplifting to you. Your hurts and disappointments should be cremated, not embalmed. Let's get rid of them. Let's be healthy, have a life worth living.
So go to our website, greenwisdomhealth.com, click on the Health Survey tab. Get started today. You guys have a blessed week. We'll be here next time on the Green Wisdom Health Show.
Once again, our show has come to an end, but your hope in your health is only beginning. If you or a loved one are in need of a different outcome and are waiting for a brighter future, take the first step and go to our website and fill out the health survey. Please don't keep us a secret. If you know someone that could benefit from this podcast, please share this show with your friends and family. You're only one step away from a life worth living.